second. All right, everybody,
All
please say
right.
yes to this. And yeah, otherwise you'll be kicked out. No, just kidding. So, right, Andrew, you're up.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's go. Let's share the screen. All right. You can see this?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Good evening, everyone. And today we're going to do well, I would say it's simple, but we want to do a knowledge sharing of, if you know me and Jason, we started doing this when the pandemic starts, and we are heavy experimenters. Jason has done his business, he has pivoted, he has tried YouTube, you have tried podcasts, you have done Fiverr as well. And on my side, we have done the inbound email, and then now I'm moving also into outbound. So today we want to share with you, or I want to share with you, the power of cold email marketing. Before that, let me see whether it works. Where is it? Doesn't work? Okay, I want to know any one of you here who doesn't know Jason. Type a 0 if you don't know Jason.
Actually, this is not valid anymore. We discussed just now, right? I see some strange kind of like stranger here.
No, because I'm gonna now, if they don't know, many people know Jason, then we should introduce you.
Okay, nobody types 0. Okay, I assume that
nobody types 0.
Okay. I assume
cool.
they look me up, at least they know who is this fella. Okay. Thanks, guys. Otherwise, he probably will go, anyway.
That shows how far he has come for the last 2 years. Now, Jason is well known. And he does a lot of YouTube videos. He has tons of YouTube videos on Facebook ads. You should check it out. So if that's the case, now that we got that out of the question, I'm not going to put myself in a position because I know most of you won't know me. My name is Andrew. I'm more commonly known on LinkedIn as the email guy. And what I do is I help businesses write better emails to build deeper relationships with their prospects and also the clients. And we do this through B2B outreach. That is, cold outreach and also inbound marketing. And this will help in terms of increasing leads and also sales, which is why we're having this training today. Most of us want leads. Any one of you here not hungry for leads?
Then you're probably in the wrong training because,
yeah.
If you're already having a dozen tons of leads that you can put that time.
I don't need this. My leads are coming in like nobody's business.
Then probably this is not for you. But yeah.
But then again, that's the next question is, do you have quality leads?
Oh yeah.
You may have tons of leads coming in, but you have, we work with, so many inbound clients. They say, oh, we run ads, we've got so many leads, but none of them actually pan out. My salespeople are complaining that, these leads are useless and it's a no-go, it's a dead end and all those things. That is one of the reasons when you run ads to an audience, to a group of strangers, and you may have a good ads, you may have good set of copy as well, and they get interested, but the context is different. Okay. So what do most businesses do? You either run ads, you do a lot of content, you do social media, SEO, and even ask for business referrals, specifically with regards to business to business. Okay. And these are more commonly known as inbound marketing, which is designed to attract leads. Like we mentioned, then the issue of the leads quality, especially for B. Jason, you've run some ads for your B2B clients as well, right? Which of the industries actually work for you?
Well, actually, I run a lot of B2B ads, lead gen and all that. I myself is a B2B business. So when I first started, actually, I started with Facebook ads. That's the lower hanging fruit. And on top of that, I help agencies. I help, like B2B businesses trying to acquire clients through social media. We're talking about social media.
But most of them are individuals as in owner operators, right?
Yeah. So the challenge would be, I think the actionable leads, the ratio would be pretty low. And you have a lot of people who are just look-see, because the challenge about that is most people are on social media to just mingle. And first thing first, it's not easy to pinpoint to the position or to the industry, Like, for example, I've helped one of my clients, just not too long ago, I think it's about 6 months ago. I helped a client, which is a F&B software provider, F&B business software provider, something similar to like the POS system.
SaaS, yes.
Software as a service in Singapore. So the challenge was it's very difficult. Let's say talk about Facebook advertising, right? So one of the bigger challenges, it's not as easy to pinpoint to the industry because nobody would say that I'm an F&B business operator. There is no option for that. So you will have to go pretty broad. That's one way.
You go broad as usual.
But when you go broad, yeah, you will get a lot of people who are like, oh, it's not just for me. I pressed this wrongly. Oh, I'm not qualified. This is not my thing. Then, so that's the challenge.
Correct. The thing is, you are targeting 5 million impressions, when in actual fact, you only want maybe 100 people who are relevant to your business. That's
very true.
how ads is all about. So it becomes a waiting game, right? You're putting up content, you're doing your SEOs, you're running ads, and you're waiting for leads to come in. And the leads, like we say, is going to be questionable, and it will be, you will know, right? Because especially for B2B, because you're targeting a broad set of audience. But what if you can now decide who and when you want to do business with? Would that be cool? Would that be something you may be interested in? Remember, we're not selling anything today. I'm just sharing the last 4 months, 5 months of doing this, and I want to share with you the pitfalls and also the advantages of doing cold email, okay? This is what we call outreach, or some call it outbound, or some call it prospecting. And in general, this covers, for example, like cold calling, networking. You do events, you do exhibition, for example, or even some may do mobile text or SMS text. That's very rare, but that happens, and you can actually do that if you want to. But these are outbound. That means you're actively going out to reach out to people on a one-to-one basis or as a group. And unfortunately, it takes time, more time, and also money. Because you need to, when you do exhibitions, we used those days when I was in the IT security, when we started doing exhibition, we spent about 40,000, 50,000 to sell at the booth. And then we had a bunch of guys and sales staff to be present during the event, for example, 3-day events and all those things. It is tiring, and the kind of leads, they just want to get your freebies, right? So you have a lot of leads, a lot of contact cards, for example, and eventually when they start calling, it is a dead end again. So time and money, and also it's difficult to scale. How many events or how many seminars or how many networking events or meetings that you can do? Okay. And this is very important. And when I got into this, I also get a clear idea of it works only if you have a very clear idea of who is your ideal customer profile. Now, what do I mean by that? Can any one of you describe your ideal customer profile now?
Again,
yes, no.
Anyone who run ads.
Okay, anyone who run ads. What else?
Yeah. So probably people who spend
generally speaking, yeah. So if I ask my prospects when I have calls with them, it's either, well, you can mention the title. They would know maybe the role. It is procurement, or if it's IT, it would be IT manager, for example, or either the industry. So in your case, Jason, it would be, let's say, F&B industry. Okay. So generally, these are the 3 most common ones. Jason Gustatic. Wow, you can. Okay.
Sivan as well.
We're gonna have this chat. Yes. Okay, great. Now let me ask you this. Do you know your company size of your customers or your prospects? 50 people, 100 people, 200 people? Is there, do you have a trend of what's the size that you're dealing with? Number 2 is
from Jason.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Technologies that they use. How about technologies that they use? Do they use, for example, in IT, do they have, what sort of firewalls do they use? What sort of Wi-Fi routers do they use? What sort of software do they use for their finance, for their accounting, for their marketing? Okay. Then the next is where and how do they conduct business with? For example, are they only centric, for example, in Malaysia, or they do Middle East, for example, or they do the Asian market? And who do they deal with? In F&B, obviously, is their so-called restaurant visitors. How about the rest? If you're doing IT for a multinational, who are the customers of these multinationals? And who are their customers? Okay. And what problems are they solving for their customers? Because these are the angles that you would use when you start targeting and narrowing down your audience. Remember, in this case, we are not talking about broad targeting already. We're going to do very hyper targeting. And finally, what's stopping them from actually getting more customers? Yep. Oh, yeah. Like Jason said, you also need to know their competitors as well. Okay. So those are the deep lying things that you need to know in order for your customers, aside from your title, your positions, or even your industry. Now, with this information, obviously, you can now do hyper targeting, right? You know where we're going with this, right? We are not going to talk to 1,000 people. We're not going to talk to 10,000 or 20,000 people. We're going to go deep into a very specific niche of prospects or contacts. Now, here's the flow or generally the journey in most B2B. Okay, first, you need contacts. Then you convert them into leads. Either you're running ads or either you are doing cold outreach. And from leads, you can narrow them and qualify them further to become prospects. And from prospects, when your sales team start talking to them, making the proposals and all the stuff, then they become customers. So they buy first time from you. And then that's where your team, your support team, your customer success team, start building relationship with them. Over time, if you do a good job, they become your clients, which means they do long-term business with you. They will treat you as their partners. They will treat you as their consultants. They'll be the first person to look for if they need any other solutions from then on. Make sense? So reaching out for contacts at scale, what we're doing or what I'm going to do is to use emails. Let me ask you this. Can you reach 1,000 people or 1,000 contacts in 14 days or less? How many business development people or telemarketers do you need in order for you to call these 1,000 people? If you do international business, different time zones as well. Okay, so email is one of the best ways and more effective ways of doing it. So tonight I'm going to share with you what I call the B2B snapper leads methods. This is a method that I use to help my clients, to help myself, and I'm going to share with you how we do it so that you can adopt this and use it for your own business today, especially if you're in B2B. You're going to ask me then, the next thing is, Andrew, now isn't that spamming, right? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because number one, they did not give you permission to email them, all right? Number two, they don't know you. And the worst thing is, because they don't know you, they don't even trust you. So yes, the first three things, it is considered spamming. But no, because using this method, you're not selling. Okay, I will come back to this in a while, because you are researching your prospects or your contacts very well. You know, like Jason's case, you know your competitors, you know your clients or your prospects competitors, you know their industries, you know their size, for example. It's all very well researched. And this is important. You are being respectful. Okay, how do we do that? I'll show you. So the quick difference between inbound and outbound is this. So for inbound, like most of us, and something that I've always been doing, is you obviously need a good sending domain reputation, right? To make sure that your emails is being sent to the inbox and not spam. Now, the difference is when you do inbound, they actually give you permission already. So they actually sign up, go for your lead magnet, for example, or interacted with you, for example, okay? In terms of content, you can do storytelling, right? If you're part of my list or part of Jason's list, for example, sometimes we tell stories and then we segue into an offer, for example, or sometimes we just share our experiences or our frustration, whatever it is. It is a private one-to-one communication between us and the subscribers. Number three, they know you because they actually sign up for your list or sign up to become your subscribers. And because of that, they have given you permission for you to send. So that's fine. Okay. And a lot of people say you got to be careful with spam words and all those things. But when you have this one-to-one conversation, especially for inbound, especially when they've given you permission to send, you can be lenient on spam words. And if you look at our newsletters, for example, you see sometimes we actually use a combination of spam words inside, but that's fine because you already established that reputation. And you do this for long-term engagement. Okay, so that's inbound. So quick one for outbound. Now this is where the difference comes in. You got to have very excellent domain reputation because you're sending to businesses which have never received an email from your domain before. And before you can even reach the users, you'll probably be blocked at the firewall or their spam filter site. So your domain reputation has to be excellent. Your emails no longer about storytelling. It's about straight to the point, really. You're going to write your emails directly, very short emails, not long. Okay, because they don't know you. You're talking to strangers. And obviously, they did not give you permission to send. So you better have something good for them. Otherwise, they're going to report spam on you. All right. And you got to be very strict on not using spam words already, because the filters will filter you because they don't know you. Second thing, the domains itself is alien to their system. They will be very strict on that. And for cold email, it's short term, as in because you're reaching out. It's just like I saw Jason, for example, and I say I like what he do, and reach out to him, and Jason doesn't know me, right? So that's the first cut. I'm using cold emails to actually build engagement. Okay, so like I say, and we have emphasized it many times, this method works only for B2B. Why? It's because your contact information is public, especially for businesses. Okay, I've read through some laws, even the California privacy laws and all those things. There's an exception when it comes to business emails. Unless if the business emails is explicitly tied to that person. Otherwise, it's not considered personal identifiable data because they're open for business, right? You can actually send Jason at tribeup.my, for example, they're open for business. Any one of us here, that's what you do, okay? So that's fine. But if you do B2C, then you're entering into a very murky world of spamming and also privacy invasion, right? So for example, I would know Jason at TribeUp, but I wouldn't know Jason's Gmail account. Okay, but there are ways to do it, but you don't do this because that's private emails. So that's why this whole B2B sniper leads methods works for business to business, is because those information are available. Okay, are available. So how do you do it? Right? So far, so good. Catching up. Okay.
Perfect. Oh, just one question, because I think you probably would touch this. Like, let us know if you're going to touch this. What do you mean by domain reputation? Would you be elaborating, or can you do that?
I'll be talking about it. Yes.
Okay, cool. Then we wait for it.
Okay, Terry, thank you so much. Let's move on. So first thing you need to do is you need to then subscribe, for example, from B2B data providers. There are B2B data providers out there. What they do is they scan your LinkedIn profile, they scan your website, they look at all available information, but this is limited to companies, right? So you can even use LinkedIn, any one of you, if you're on LinkedIn, you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's a paid subscription. I think it costs about 300 plus ringgit a month. And you can have a person's contact, phone number, and email address, and also their title. So you can actually use this to filter and target certain people or certain audiences within your niche. You can use Zoom Info. And Zoom Info is extensive in terms of their B2B database globally. It costs, the last time I checked, it costs about 60,000 ringgit a year to subscribe to Zoom Info. And I've talked to a few email marketers, for example. They say this is probably the most extensive database. You have Apollo, you have Lusha, Slintel, or LeakIQ. These are the available B2B data providers that you can actually use this to get context information, right? Then you need a campaign tool. Like, for example, when we do email or inbound email, we use a tool like MailerLite. When you do B2B, it's a different tool. You cannot use tools like MailChimp or even MailerLite to send cold emails. I can guarantee you within 2 months or even less, MailerLite or MailChimp will block you and will ban you from using their system. Okay, so that's a different tool that you use. It's more for campaign management. Okay, so you have like Mailshake, Woodpecker, Sales Handy, or even Instantly, for example, Reply and Autocross. These are the most common B2B campaign tools that you can use to run your campaigns. The sending tools, if they are not sending, then who's going to send this email? It is your Google Workspace or even Zoho Mail. That means they are managing your campaign, and this email will be sent through the domain which you own, which you need to register, and it's sending through you. Okay. While you get the B2B data providers to provide you these emails or these contacts, you still need to clean up because people may leave. Some of this information may not be updated, for example, and some of the emails may have changed, right? So you need to make sure, end of the day, your emails are as valid as they can possibly be because you want to avoid the bounce rate. You want to avoid emails that goes to the wrong systems, for example. Okay, so you can use tools like email list validation, zero bounce, or even clean email. So these are the providers available that you need in order for you to clean your emails to make sure it's valid. Next, obviously you need domains, right? So for example, you use Google domains, you can do, then you need to do email authentication. So Jason, I'm going to circle back to your authentication site and email warm-up. Okay, these three things. One is because you're sending cold emails, you will not use your primary domain. For example, in Jason's case, is trapup.my. Okay, so when he wants to do a cold email campaign, he will do trapup.training or trapup-Jason, for example, a subdomain if it's possible, or a totally new domain. Just a minute, my daughter is interrupting. Okay, go. Where was I? Okay, so because you're sending cold emails, there is always a high possibility that your domains will be damaged or may not be able to use because of people may report spam. If you do it right, you have a slower level, but if you do it wrongly and you just basically blast the information out to a group of people who doesn't know you, your domain is going to be screwed. So you have to separate between your primary business and a subdomain. So you need to register new domains. Now, the thing is, you then need to do your email reputation. As in inbound, normally what we do is we will send a list to people who already know us, get replies and all those things. So it's quite straightforward warming up process. But when you do cold emails, you need a warm-up process between 14 to 13 days. There are tools for it. Most of the tools that you have, like Mailshake and all, they have these warm-up facilities where they actually send to a bunch of people and reply back. So the idea is to build the reputation of email sending. But you need about 14 to at most 30 days in order before you can actually start sending your first cold email. Right? The standard email authentication like your SPF, your DKIM, and your debug, those has to be done right as well because Gmail's, Yahoo Mails is going to check. Now, here's the thing. Spammers also know how to do that. So before you do this, your warm-up is going to be very important, right? Just because we all know how to read, spammers also know. They will get all this authentication done. They will get all the domain set up, but they will not, unless you're doing big operations, they will not spend time to actually warm up the domain. Okay, so that's one part of it that is very important that a lot of people, when they do cold email, sometimes they miss this. Okay. So writing cold emails, that's the second part, is different. It's not like the traditional inbound. Okay, so here's the step. The idea is you're selling the response. You're not selling anything, you're selling the response. For example, if I write to Terry, for example, and I've done my research, I'm going to ask him something related to his business. I know possibly I can pretty much guess what are the issues they may face. And if is in line with the offers that I do, then I'm going to ask Terry and says, I have this is what I do. Would you be interested? Type a yes or no, for example, or reply with a yes or no. That's all. That's the first email. Okay. So the message is this: I'm doing an icebreaker email to send to people like Terry, for example, or even Chiwai. And I will say, would you be interested? I do a very brief, maybe 3 paragraphs at most. And the idea is I'm trying to sell a response, a positive response back. Once they do a positive response, we can then continue the conversation. So with the email campaign tool, for example, when somebody replied, we will not send the subsequent 2 or 3 emails. Generally, you need about 3, at most 4 emails in a sequence in order for you to do a pretty good cold email campaign. So once they respond, then the next thing is you can either have continue the conversation, ask them as if you're writing to, as you're writing to a friend, right? You have this conversation going on, or you can send them to the video that you recorded for them, or you can send them to a landing page to get them to share more information with them, okay? So once they've done this interaction, then only, especially in B2B, you will ask to book a call. If you ask upfront to book a call, guarantee nobody's going to do it. Remember, they don't know you. And now that you have built this to and fro conversation with them through this 2 or 3 emails, or maybe even 4 emails, at the last one, you can then ask for, a booking for a call. Make sense? Okay. So here are the steps. 1, you have to be, right? Like Jason Kostatic, for example, and even Sivam, they are very clear about their audience. They know their competitors. That's good. Second thing is you then use the data providers to start building your contact list, because now you already know the profile. You're looking for people of similar profile. Same thing when you're running as the lookalike, but the difference between lookalike is still a huge bunch of people that may not be relevant, but they sort of look alike. But in this case, you're going through every single contact list, and in order for you to find the people of that similar size. So you need to know the company and all those things, or technology they use, for example. You're going to target this. Then you're going to clean up this data, which you can download from the data providers. And then you do a cleanup of tools to make sure, again, just in case, although they promise, the emails are valid and all those things, I'm a little bit OCD in the sense that I'd rather make sure that, I'll run through another round of cleanups, and I would recommend that you do this, okay? So use the cleanup tools, verify all the emails. Once you've done that, you can now start buying domains and also email accounts. 2 things you need to do. You need to buy the domains, and then you need to have attach it to email accounts, because you'll be sending emails from these domains. Your campaign tools, like your Mailshake, your auto-close, I'm not going to send on your behalf. That's why MailerLite and MailChimp will not do this, because what we're doing for inbound is MailerLite and MailChimp are sending on our behalf. I'm going to use this, and they're using their IPs. And if I start using them to do cold email, when I get report spam, it's going to affect MailerLite and MailChimp. That's why they're very particular. They always verify and says, you buy this list, right? Or how do you acquire this list? So when you use cold email, the campaign tools don't send, you're using your own domain. So you got to make sure at least that the emails that you have are valid and useful. Once you've done this, then you go through the process of warming up. Remember, 14 days to 30 days, where you let it run, where the system itself, or your Mailshake, for example, is going to use this group of users within the entire ecosystem, and then it automatically runs the emails to and fro, and there will be so-called, the way to use AI is just, there will be responses, and then you will send out. So as far as you're concerned, you're building up that reputation rep for just when you're ready to go to send to your clients or your prospects, okay? Because you know your customer profiles, you have done your research, you then need to write personalized email. Now, here's the thing about personalized email. It's not just about, hi, Justin, or hi, Jason. That's very straightforward stuff. Your personalized email would need to be related specifically to the person. So if I know Chiwai, for example, he runs an agency, and I know that these are the audiences that they serve, or these are the market, for example, okay? And I have a solution for it. So I'm going to write, dear Chiwai, and then either from the research itself, I found out that, well, they're setting up a new branch, and these are the things the services that he may need, and the services that I happen to offer. I'm going to relate directly to Chiwai. And when I talk to Sivam, it's different again. Although let's say Sivam is also running an agency, but Sivam's requirement is different. but my offer is suitable for both of them. Okay, so that's how you actually need to personalize your email. So that's the kicker, because spammers don't do that. Remember, spammers know how to do authentication, not just you. Spammers also know. Spammers know how to buy domains as well, no issue. But they are not going to spend time to write personalized email for each and every one. And because of that, that's why, sometimes when you receive email and say somebody tells you or try to sell you a YouTube and YouTube so-called optimization, and you may not even have a YouTube channel, or your YouTube channel is basically for something else, right? Because they just buy the data and then they're going to blast it out. And obviously what you do, you report as spam or you either block it, in most cases, okay? Then you use the tools to manage your marketing tools or your campaign tools to manage your campaign. How many replied? How many response? How many say, do not contact me? How many, did not even bother to open your emails, for example. So those tools can be used to manage. And finally, and something that you need to do, especially if you're B2B, you got to get on LinkedIn. What I would say is, over the last 3 years, most of my clients are on LinkedIn, and most of my contacts are done because that's where the B2B audiences are. So once you have connected with them, especially when they reply yes, you then want to go out of band to also connect them on LinkedIn. Why? It's because they are not your customers yet. They have accepted your, having that engagement or conversation. But by virtue of you adding them on your network with LinkedIn, because you're constantly providing content, that will also give them or reassure them that you're doing, you're the right person and you're doing the stuff that is relevant to them. Okay, so these are the things, the approach of not just sending emails, but also adding on the element of connection and network through a tool like LinkedIn. So you have both advantages that you can do. Okay. With these 8 steps, you can literally do yourself. The tools are available. It's a matter of paying for it, subscribing, learning how to use them. Most of them are quite intuitive and easy to use. So you can actually do this for yourself. It's not rocket science. Writing emails, the most of the time is writing the personalized emails. And if you know your ideal customer profile well, it becomes very easy for you to mine the B2B database in order to find the right prospects. Okay. And all you need to do is to start with 1,000 anyways. Okay. Now, what if, for example, you come in and says, hey, I sort of know who are my audiences and I know their titles and industries, but that's about all. You can also use cold email to actually do discovery. So the method is this. Let's say you have 1,000 leads or 1,000 contacts you want to do. You can break them down into positions. You can break them down into small chunks of industries. And you can even break them down into, let's say, company sizes, right? So you have all these different verticals that you do. And from there, you probably have like 100, let's say, within, let's say, the IT industry, and then 100 within the creative industry, assuming your services handle these both industries. Then you have another 100 for that's targeting, let's say, the VPs, another 100 targeting the middle managers, right? Another 100 targeting, let's say, the executives. So once you have broken out all this, you can then start sending, and then that will help you discover and say, actually, who responded back to you. So that's another aspect of cold email that you can do for you to discover what are the markets that actually resonate with your products or services. And because you're connected to LinkedIn, you're connected to their website, for example, you'll now be able to have constantly pump information for them, right? They can see, they will know better, they can interact with you. So now your emails, your cold emails, your outreach is being used to actually build connections, build that bridge to them, which eventually some may buy early, some may not, but now you have a very clear set of audiences that you can prospect or you can basically communicate with, okay? So benefits and efforts. One, cold email is specific and is targeted, especially if you're like, Jason and Siva who knows their audience well, it's awesome. Number 2 is immediate, right? You can send 1,000 emails out within 14 days if you want, the matter of just buying more domains. So for example, let's say each domain, you can send on average, let's say 20 emails a day. So you do the math, you probably like need 5, 6, or even 10 domains so that you can send them out at the same time, right? So each of the domains tackles a certain group of audiences. So it's immediate, you know whether your offer and your outreach is done right. You can scale. No one in their right mind will be able to call 1,000 people within 5 days, 14 days. You need a huge resources, and that can be mitigated with emails. It's profitable because you are not spending money to get 5 million impressions. You're spending money to target just 1,000 people, well-researched, and these are the people that you want to work or do business with, okay? And obviously now, in this case, you're getting qualified leads. Because you already done your research, they know. If they respond back to you, it's pretty much already, well, I won't say it's hot, but it's warm. The question is, then depends on your offer and how you take the conversation beyond to the point of having a sale. The effort is, you need to do a lot of deep research. Like I say, Zoom info costs about 60K, depending on your level that you want to sign up for. There is a high possibility of spam. I will not, deny that. If you do it right, you can reduce it. You need a lot of tools. Like I mentioned, your campaign tools, your verification tools, what else? Your Gmail, your domains, and your warm-up tools, for example. And then the toughest part, all right, in my experience doing this, is writing the personalized copy. It takes a lot of effort. But it's worth it because you really want to target these people. Okay, so it's not just random. The interesting thing is this. Any one of you here, I skipped that. Any one of you here have been doing cold email before? Type of one if you've done cold email before. I'm sure Jason has done this before.
Not this
Yes.
Jason, the other Jason.
Not the Jason. Jason, good static. Yes. So aside from Jason, who else has done cold email before?
Anyone else have done this cold email? Not me. I have not.
Okay. So now we have a team of what? 20, 10?
We have about 20-ish people, about 20-ish. Celine
okay.
say yes.
Celine does. Okay. So 2 out of 20.
Yeah.
I can tell you pretty much your competitors are not doing it. You guys are here because you are in Jason's group, in my group, for example, and you've done some. Even then also, there's only 2 out of 20. So the advantage or the so-called the opportunities that's available is your competitors aren't doing it. They are doing the same thing. They're running ads, they're building content, spending money on building contents, and hoping and waiting that the right people will show up.
We have Ian say he's doing it by using his own domain, which is dangerous.
Yes. Extremely. Because then when you start to do real business, you then find out that customers, your real customers will come back and complain to you and say, hey, I didn't get your email. It ended up in spam. And the reason why happens is because you've been using your emails to do all this cold email stuff, and then your reputation is damaged. Okay?
Having said that, Andrew, is there any way to actually kind of like reverse this thing? If let's say, seriously, I've got quite a few clients, when they send me email, they go into spam. Obviously, they have probably committed some crime like this.
Or either they didn't set up your email correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's also if you don't set up your email correctly, especially the authentication, the three big ones.
Yeah, like
SPF, DKIM, and DMARC.
DMARC, DKIM, and whatever.
At the very least, but then your frequency of sending for inbound is the frequency of sending, the consistency of sending, for example, and whether you're sending to the right audience. So the list hygiene becomes important for inbound, right? Same thing when we clean our list. We've done that before. Every 3 months we'll run a list, or every 6 months we'll clean our list again, or we remove people who are not engaged. So if you do email marketing, they don't do that, and especially if they use the domain for this and business as well, then yes, that will happen.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what I'm trying to say is this: your competitors are not doing it. There is an opportunity for you to take advantage of it to be able to reach the people that you want. And you decide. The best part is you get to decide who you want to reach out to. When you run Facebook ads, you can only tell Facebook, I want to run I want to target a specific industry, and Facebook will send you, and you're in no control. Whereas in this case, you are in full control of exactly who I want to talk to. Do I want to talk to MD? Do I want to the founders? Do I want to talk to the marketing head? Do I want to talk to the head of business development? The data providers have all this information that's available for you. Okay. So What if you find this extremely overwhelming, right? And you say you need some help. Okay, so this is where that offer is coming, and the offer is very simple. With a B2B sniper list program, in conjunction with Jason, I actually take care of all the red items. I help you do the deep research, provide you the data that you need, make sure that you don't end up in spam. I manage all the tools for you. You don't even have to subscribe to tools. I have the tools, okay? And then I'll write the personalized emails and I'll manage the entire campaign for you, okay? Now, if you're interested, not everyone, but if you're interested, you can then scan this QR code. And then me and Jason, we can have that conversation because we need to know exactly, do you have all the criteria in place? If you are not sure of your customer profile, then it becomes a very difficult task. But what we've shared so far is, you can apply these steps on your own. You can do it on yourself. You don't have to use our services, but you can do it on yourself.
Yeah, you guys can screenshot this one. Hold it for like 3-5 seconds. You guys can screenshot this one, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, the moment Andrew shared with me the whole entire framework, I was like, awesome, but seriously, I cannot do this. So many things to manage.
If you want to, you can, it's possible. But if you say, well, I just want to manage my business, then yes, then that's where we come in, right? So let's, for the group, I'm going to share with you the tools again, so you can screenshot this.
Oh yeah, you want to bring them to the tools. That's correct. All right.
So data providers, LinkedIn Sales Navigator is available. You pay 300 ringgit a month. I think if you sign up for annual plan, it has a similar information. You can then research based on, title, positions, for example, size, whether they receive funding or not, right? So those information are available. If not, you can sign up for providers like ZoomInfo or Apollo or Lucia, Syntel. You just type a search on your Google, you should be able to get their URL address. Okay, clear? Snapshot done.
Yeah, I think we can quickly just skim through each one. Yeah.
So campaign tools.
Okay.
Yeah. Mailshake, Woodpecker, Sales Handling, for example, instantly. These are the tools that is available. This one is very obvious. You need a Google Workspace account or either a Zoho Mail, for example. Email list validation, zero bounds. The keyword you want to do when you do a Google search is email list verification tools or email cleaning tools, right? Email address cleaning tools. You will have that. Any one of them generally will do a pretty good job at it. Your domains, you can manage through Google domains or, what's this? What's the other domain providers they have outside? Glock, no, not Glock.
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy.
Yeah, a lot of
them. Then you do, email authentication, right? And also email warm-up. Email warm-up, when you buy the campaign tools, look for those that has email warm-up built in. It used to be separate. Nowadays, they have bundled in already. So email warm-up would be available for most of the tools that's out there. Okay. Okay, so that's it. But if you need our help, scan your QR code, we schedule a call, we can discuss and explore. Or if you have questions for us. So let's handle this. Yes.
We have a few questions. You want to bring them up right now?
Yep, sure.
Okay, let's go through. Yeah, I think actually all started with a.
I think Jason, right?
No, Andrew, you bring up your screen.
Okay.
The code. Yeah, we can actually stay there at the code. I'm just going to read out the questions so that we can actually discuss. Okay, now, I think the first question I got here was actually from TY. He's asking, is it necessary to set up DMARC policy on the domain if you already have the SPF and DKIM, etc.?
Yes, you should. Especially when you do cold email, you should not miss all three.
Every single
domain.
If
you do every single domain that you use to send. So let's say if you buy 5 domains to send, you got to make sure all 5 meets this minimum criteria.
Okay.
All right.
And followed by TY was asking also, so the best practice is always to have a secondary domain specifically used for sending cold emails.
Absolutely.
Which is you have warm up in advance. Okay. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
You can either do subdomains, right? Okay. Or either you set up, it might be straightforward. For example, let's say my domain is ans.digital. That's my primary domain for my website, for the emails I send for business and all those things. But when I do cold email, I can do ansdigital.com. I can do ansdigital.biz. I can do nsdigital.net. Okay, so now when somebody receives an email from nsdigital.com, then I'm going to make sure, that's why your Google Domains Management is important. If I type in nsdigital.com, it will redirect back to my ns.digital website because I have to check, you see. And sometimes you notice certain people, they're lazy. They just do, like today, I just received an email, vlad.13 and some numbers, random numbers at the back at gmail.com. Let me ask you one thing. When you receive an email like this from somebody you don't know called Vlad, offering to do some YouTube video services and all those things, and it's coming from at gmail.com, what are the chances you will respond? Even if the message is correct, even whatever you're looking for, he's saying the right words, he's saying the right things, do you respond? No, because you can't check. But if it's coming from Vlad at nsdigital.com, I say, oh, well, sounds like an interesting thing. I'm actually looking for this. And what I'll do is I'll just check nsdigital.com. When you go to what website, is there a website for it? No, then I can do verify. Then at the same time, because your email signatures may have a phone number, right? And these are the smaller, smaller minor details that you have a phone number, I can call and verify. Is there such a person called Vlad working in this company? So it's all about, because your reputation is important, both virtually and also your business reputation is there. Yeah.
Yep.
Jason started with Jason G. I'll call him. Oh,
Jason G. That's correct.
So Jason G. Yes, we're all constantly, well, that's why we do what we do.
So Jason is asking actually, like, is there a difference between email and domain warm-up? So do you need to take it into consideration? Yeah, he actually asked this about a while ago.
Okay, is there a difference between email and domain warm-up? Do you need to take into consideration SEM, fresh 30 days blacklist on new domains, and warm up your email accounts? Or it will actually take 6 to 7 weeks. The longer you can warm up, the better it is. Right? 14 days is a bare minimum. Certain clients can't wait. If you can do within 30 days or so, you can. But the other way around is this. Even if you do 14 days, you do a smaller set of audience. That's why, let's say out of 1,000, right? The split is always this. Out of 1,000 contacts you want to reach out to, 50% are those that is very, very precise, that you know that if you make the right offer, very likely they'll be interested. They may not buy, but they will respond yes, positive, all right? Then you have the 30%, for example, that so-called expanded and says, well, these guys may be interested in, I'm not sure, so I'll do 30%, and the balance 20% is for you to test. Now, if you do a small audience to test, to start with, over a period of maybe 2-3 campaigns, your emails already have warm-ups built in already, aside from the automated warm-ups that the providers provide. Plus the fact that because you ask for, remember you're selling for response. You're not just selling the clicks, right? So in my case, what I do is I come from cybersecurity background, right? Or I sell cybersecurity products. My cold emails don't have links. So if I put Andrew at ns.digital, I put Andrew bracket dot ns.digital, there's no link. All I want for them is to reply me yes or no. And out of 7,000 plus emails that I've sent on behalf of myself and my clients, I only had one email that responded rather angrily and said, please don't spam me. The rest is either yes or no. And because of that interaction, remember, as in inbound, there's an interaction within this domain. Now you have a conversation going. Subsequently, when you do other campaigns and you're using the same, let's say, domain or other products related to your domain, for example, you can have this conversation already. Make sense? Jason G? Your SEM fresh 30-day blacklist, your blacklist, unless you do very big, certain, the big providers, for example, they send like 10,000 emails a day, a week. Those are really on a different level. For us, we are talking about 2,000-3,000 within a campaign. And especially if you're doing Malaysia, but if you do global, then yes. So the big boys, they would have like 40 domains. And we are not just talking about 5 to 10 domains. These guys will have 40 domains. They split up all the domains across. And each one of them will want a different sequence and different timeline. Okay? Jason G, okay, I'll answer your questions.
Yeah, he thanked you though.
All right.
And yeah, I
Awesome.
think Jason also provided some interesting info over here. He said Sales Handy has integrated warm-up as well
Yes.
as Woodpecker. And
Correct.
Jason also asked is, like, do you provide consulting services? You're tracking 100% and, you run an agency, have a scaling problem. You get great returns on a cold email, but quite frankly, it's not fast enough. I think, Jason, you can scan this QR code and we can actually have
Yes.
a quick discussion about see whether what you really need and see how we can actually help you if we can, otherwise it's good to be, like make acquaintance. Actually, it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Make
Jason?
friends first.
Yeah,
right?
let's be
It's
friends
not,
first.
it's how we can serve you. It's not, and not how much you need to pay us.
Correct.
Let's have this conversation and then we explore.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. And then I
Okay,
want to
cool.
go backtrack a little bit about Ian's concern, which he
Oh,
wanted
that's
to
Ian.
show the
Yes.
company name, which I think you explained just now. You can actually use the whatever redirection and all that, which is to actually, to prove that you are a real company instead of using gmail.com.
No, Ian, the key thing is this. You want to create names that is similar to your domain. You do want to try, for example, like Jason is tripup.my, right? That's very clear. And he's going to write tripup training or tripup ads, for example. He's not going to go and do something called woodpecker.my, which is totally irrelevant anyways,
Very
right?
true.
Unless, let's say he's doing, let's say a Fiverr service as part of his, or YouTube service, for example. So tripup videos could be one that he could use. So it is related to products, but you want to be as close, but you need variation, that's all. Okay.
Makes sense.
Shout out to Ricky. Ricky is here. He is my speech coach and he's based in Australia. Yeah.
Hi, Ricky.
Ricky, he's monitoring. So you're going to tell me later, Ricky, how am I doing with this? I don't have the radio DJ, what you call that? I don't have the radio DJ mic with me. I'm using a separate mic. We'll know. Okay. So any other questions? How did we do?
Are we
9:30. 9:30. We started at what? 8:30? Oh, since 1 hour. Okay.
8:35 at 8:40, something like that. Yeah. So
do you find this useful? Let me know. Do you find this useful? Let us know so that we know how to customize training like this. It's fun for us. It's good to share. It's good, we know each other through our lists and all those things. But it's nice to show a face.
Thank you. Jason said amazing session. Thank you, Jason. And Sivan is asking, can Ricky work with you too? I mean, of course, right? Sivan?
Sivan, absolutely. If you're doing presentation and if you're what, you should talk to our friend Ricky. He has taught me in a short period of time how to avoid. I think we have not done the fillers. I think Ricky, I managed to cut down a lot of fillers nowadays. And we've done the pause and also the stuff. Talk to Ricky.
Yeah.
And follow him on LinkedIn. He does his video every day.
Right.
Yes, he has helped me a lot.
And thanks, Ricky, for the encouragement. And Terry said great session. Thank you, Terry. And Sivan, you should connect with Ricky. Just look for him on LinkedIn and you guys can connect.
Yes. It's got a session coming up in April.
Right. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, Sivan, you say you have one thing to say, which is take my money, right? Okay, that's awesome. All right, guys, it's really fun, and
I hope I've answered your questions. If not, you can still connect with us on LinkedIn or Facebook in Jason's case.
Yeah, you can always reach out to Andrew on LinkedIn, and basically you know where to find me. For those who know me, for those who are new to me, thank you so much for joining me. This is the first time we meet, and nice to meet you. And enjoy your stay in my list. Well, if you don't like it, then feel free to just let me know.
Just unsubscribe.
Yeah,
just unsubscribe. You're done. Don't report spam on it. Just unsubscribe.
Just don't report spam. That's it. Then that's all.
Yes.
All right.
Our first webinar for 2023, Jason. Let's do some more.
Cool. That's definitely we will have to do more.
First joint webinar.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. You have a good night and have a good weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Terry, Chiwai, Ricky, and everyone else. Thank you and good night.
Okay.
I'm going to end this.
Good night.
Yeah, so anyone who wants to, schedule a call with us, scan this QR code and fill up this. I'll email you the link as well for those who are in my list, and everybody's in the list anyway. So let's talk. And if you have any questions, just reply to my email. With that,
if not, take the advice and go and do your own cold emails. It's possible. It's doable.
100%. 100%.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Good
Have a
night.
and
Cheers.
enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Bye.